I crave the wilderness, being surrounded by nature with only the sound of the wind rustling the leaves of the trees. I love our little cottage in Denmark, but Denmark doesn't have any wilderness left. So when I got the chance to travel into Sweden, I got on a train, and 7 hours later, Pepsi and I arrived in the middle of the forest to spend a couple of weeks at a beautiful little cabin on a lake.
Come on, you got this. Come on, hello. Hi, good morning. I have to film, Pepsi. I have to film. You're a good boy. Hi. Hi, my good boy. Hi. Can you go lay down? Good boy. Hello. So we just got to the cabin in Sweden yesterday, and I am not going to sugarcoat it. It is really cold here. When we got here yesterday, it was 17 degrees Celsius. And then last evening it dropped to 15. And when I woke up this morning, it was 12 degrees, which, you know, for outside temperatures in the spring is absolutely fine. But for indoor livable temperatures, it's just a little bit too cold. And when I arrived yesterday, the grocery store closed quite early, so I had to rush there and back to get all the food that I needed. And it's an hour walk there, an hour walk back, so by the time I got back to the cabin last night, it was dark and it was just too late to go searching for everything that I needed to start a fire. I was also naively hoping that maybe the radiators in this cabin hadn't had enough time to heat everything up properly, but it's obvious now that there's no way they're gonna heat up the cabin, so It is an old one. You know, a lot of these cabins in Sweden are not insulated for the winter, and the walls here are just so thin. I'm looking at the walls, and yeah, there's no insulation here. This is meant for being here in the summer, but I'm here in the spring, and I've got to find a way to live comfortably in this cabin for the next week. So my mission this morning is to find kindling and tinder to start the fire. There's plenty of firewood, but there's really nothing else to start a fire with. And it looks like tonight it's going to snow and tomorrow it's going to rain, so I need to stack a bunch of firewood inside in an area where it's dry to make sure that it doesn't get wet. If the firewood gets wet, it's going to be a lot more difficult to start a fire, and you know, I'm a creature that loves the heat. I'm not a big fan of the cold, so I have a feeling that for the next week that I'm here, I'm going to have the fire running pretty much non-stop. So let's go do that. Okay, so at least it is a beautiful, warm, sunny day out here right now. I am on a hillside that looks like it was logged maybe a year or two ago, so there is no shortage of small, dry twigs that I can use as kindling. That won't be a problem. I'm a little bit more concerned about the tinder that I'm gonna find out here, but we'll do the best we can, and let's see what we can find. Okay, so I can't even believe I'm about to say this, but after all the effort I went to this morning to get kindling and tinder and light this fire, it turns out I don't think many people use this wood stove in this cabin. I'm pretty sure people rent it out in the summer, not in the spring or fall like the shoulder seasons, because it leaks smoke out of the side seams. Now I know that no wood stove is completely 100% airtight. You're always gonna get smoke out, especially when you're lighting a fire. But it was like billowing from the sides of the wood stove. And within a few minutes, the cabin was filled with smoke. So I aired it out, we're all good. But this is one of the reasons when my partner Lucas and I, when we get a cabin in Norway or Sweden, because we're going to in the near future, we are going to get a place that is A, insulated, and B, has a reliable, relatively new heat source. So thankfully in this situation, I can just call the owner and say, hey, look, I need more heating in here, bring along a radiator, and it's solved. And it's not that bad in here right now. So we'll get it sorted, but that is the adventure for the morning come to a close. Okay, so I have really good news. We finally got it warm enough in here. I was able to get this little heat fan from a cabin that's not too far away from here that the owner also owns. And there's one other thing that I absolutely have to get done today, and that is cooking Pepsi's food. So I got this big pot here, and I am going to cook his food now, and then I think we're gonna go for a walk. And that's the end of our first day at the cabin. Also, I just made myself some dinner, and it smells really good. It is rice topped with a sauteed mixture of spinach, garlic, smoked tofu, nutritional yeast, and ivar, and I am really excited to have it. It's simple, but it's gonna be really good. The next few days, it rained and snowed, and I was happy that it did. In my day-to-day life, I'm addicted to productivity. So being inside this cozy little cabin, surrounded by nature with nothing to do and nowhere to be, was a really nice change of pace. I often have so much to do that I never really give myself the chance to wake up, make a warm tea, and cuddle with Pepsi on the couch, enjoying my absolute favorite pastime, reading fiction novels. I took a deep breath and got lost in the story that I was reading until it was time to go outside for a walk with Pepsi. And even though the snow was blowing sideways, it was still beautiful, mixed with the new spring blossoms that had just bloomed. There's also something so hygge about watching the snow fall outside in the forest while we're inside with a hot drink, a blanket, and a good book. One of the days was also a special day for Pepsi, where we played and did a few tricks for his favorite vegan bone. Each day, I made a new comforting dinner of sandwiches or veggies with a creamy sauce. And once the sun set, I turned off all the lights, lit some candles, and enjoyed a peaceful evening by candlelight. It was so cozy, and the cabin was filled with little candle holders and my favorite ones, candle lanterns. I felt more relaxed than I have in a really long time.
The next morning, the snow and rain went away and the sun came out.
Okay, so I am down at the lake right now and I'm about to do something that I've never done before, and that is a cold dip in the lake. The cabin that I'm staying in doesn't have any kind of shower, so normally people would just shower in the lake, but it's like 3 degrees Celsius out right now. I have no idea what temperature the lake is, but I know it's gonna be cold, so we'll see how this goes. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. All right, I am really surprised. I've been out of the water for a little while now, and right after I got out, I was not super impressed. But then I took my towel off and I decided to take some photos in my bikini. And I stood out there for like 10 minutes taking photos and I didn't feel cold at all. And it is really windy out here, so I was just really surprised. And once I got over the initial shock of, oh my God, this is freezing cold, why am I doing this? I actually felt really invigorated, and surprisingly enough, I feel so warm now, when usually as soon as I leave the cottage or the cabin, I'm feeling really cold. So this is the warmest I felt since I got here, which kind of blows my mind because all I did was go in some cold water, but I'm really happy with it.
Pepsi and I took advantage of the warmer, sunny days and spent a lot of time walking around the lake and soaking up the beautiful scenery. It was finally starting to feel like spring, and we could smell the flowers blooming each time the wind picked up. We made our way down a forest trail, and the afternoon light filtering through the trees was so peaceful, like we were entering a fantasy land filled with magical creatures. We ended up staying in the forest glen for a while, just watching the butterflies flit around looking for flowers. Pepsi was so happy about the warm weather and couldn't help wanting to play all afternoon, running around the yard at the cabin, chewing on tree bark and chasing sticks. Each night we had a new sunset, and as soon as I saw the light come through the cabin window, we would head down to the lake to film the setting sun shining through the reeds and other plants that were still bare from the winter. I love filming at this time of day, the way the sun creates flares in the camera lens, and filming Pepsi finding new sticks to play with, seeing him have fun in the forest makes me feel so happy. And that was our time in the quaint little cabin in Sweden. In total, we spent 10 days there, and it was exactly what we needed.